We've all heard that famous saying, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words will never hurt me. For an adult, that's true, right? We learn to separate ourselves from the words that people say. But from the perspective of a child, words hurt, especially when they're coming from the person that you expect to have your back, from the person that you expect to love you no matter what. In other words, a parent. And in this case, in today's video, I'm really focusing on narcissistic mothers. And there are some words when somebody is being overtly abusive that are obviously going to hurt a person. When you are insulting somebody, that is going to hurt. When a parent is insulting a child, but that's not what I'm focusing on today. I really want to focus on the covert ways that a narcissistic mother can often say words that not only hurt, but create a shame wound in a child. And that shame wound becomes the template through which that child lives life. It becomes a template through which they see themselves. It becomes a template that sets them up to have similar relationships as the relationship they do with that narcissistic parent. Okay, so that being said, let's talk about some things that a covert narcissistic mother says to a child that provokes shame. When a narcissistic parent compares you to someone else, saying that, why can't you be like that person? They are basically putting that person there and you down here. And what they're indirectly saying is that there are people that meet their standards. There are people that are enough in the eyes of that parent, but you aren't reaching that level. And so it causes a child to feel shame. It causes them to feel not good enough. It also causes a child to measure their worth against other people. And in an adult person's life, if they've experienced this in childhood, what I've seen happen is that in adulthood, that pattern of putting people here and you down here becomes internalized, and the adult child of a narcissist does that to themselves. Even if they leave the narcissistic parent, they're always looking at other people and beating themselves for not being as whatever as the other person. This is one that I've heard a lot, right? A lot of people have experienced this saying. And what a child's perspective is when they hear that, what they're hearing is, I love you because I have to, right? I have no choice. You are related to me, but if I could choose, I don't like you. And so again, it's a rejection of that child. You are rejecting who they are as a person. Once again, feeding into the belief, I am not enough, I am unworthy, I am less than, I am rejected for being myself. All of these trauma beliefs are then created and instilled in that child. And then they grow up and it's internalized because guess what? The child that is not liked by the parent doesn't stop liking the parent. It stops liking self. It doesn't reject the parent, it rejects self. And so you wind up living life disconnected from who you are. You wind up living life with a lot of self-hate and a lot of shame. This is implying that the child is a burden, that the child is too much. And they love to throw in those words, everyone, no one. It's like an all or nothing way of thinking. So this just makes this shame-inducing comment just 10 times stronger or 10 times more painful because the child is hearing not just my mom thinks this, but everyone thinks this. And that feeling like a burden means that a child grows up feeling that shame at having their needs met. And so an adult child of a narcissistic mother that is told these things tries to live life playing small, trying not to shine, trying not to take up space, trying not to feel too much, trying not to do anything. They're just trying to be invisible in an effort to not feel the pain of this burden that they were made to feel they are on a narcissistic mother. This phrase, again, it's not a direct insult. None of these phrases, they're all covert. They are indirectly implying some very disempowering beliefs. Basically, when a narcissistic parent says this comment, they are making a child feel guilt at anything the child wants to do that the parent may not like. They are made to feel indebted to that parent in a way that they're made to feel like they have to sacrifice self because after all, they owe their life to that parent. That therefore that means they can't live for themselves. They have to live for that parent. And they're expected to revolve 24/7 and be controlled around that parent. Anytime they want to do something that they love, anytime they want to focus on something for themselves, they're made to feel as if they are selfish, as if they are a bad child, an unappreciative child. So when this happens, self-love and self-care become synonymous with being selfish. And so the child grows up to be an adult that never thinks of themselves, that takes care of everyone but themselves. They're probably exhausted because they're doing for others and not giving themselves what they need to be energized and happy. The next phrase, narcissistic mothers, especially covert narcissistic mothers, love to use when now the child is a little bit older and the child is maybe having their own friends or they're dating. Especially if those friends are healthy or the person they're dating is healthy, they will be told he or she doesn't really like you or they don't really like you or love you. They're just using you. In other words, it's implying that you're not worthy of love unless you are giving something. You're not worthy of something good in your life. And there's that shame wound being tapped on once again. So those are 5 covert phrases, right? They're not direct insults, but they are phrases that evoke an emotion in a child. And our subconscious learns through repetition plus emotion, not so much words. So the parent is never saying you are unworthy, you are unlovable. Now, sometimes they are. Okay, the overt times that they're abusing, sometimes they are, but for this instance, I'm talking about covert things that they're saying. They may not directly be saying that, but with the words they're choosing, they are implying it. And because it's provoking shame inside of you, your subconscious is paying attention and it starts learning, oh, when I do something for me, that means I'm selfish. um, I am not like this person. Other people are better than me. That means I'm unworthy. And it's reaching these conclusions, and those paired associations can stay with you and govern your life and your relationships not until you leave the narcissistic mother. Okay, because eventually, hopefully, that always happens. But if you don't uproot the shame wound, you can wind up recreating those dynamics with other people in your life. And that's my point in making this information known, is so that you can see it, so you can identify with it, and then you can understand what's really involved in uprooting, uprooting those shame wounds. And so if you're struggling, if you've tried so much and you're still struggling with that shame wound, some resources that I have available, we have the Thriver School of Transformation, which is a monthly membership where we meet live on Zoom and we do the inner work together. I also have a self-parenting course that is amazing with learning how to unlearn what a narcissistic parent taught you and how to learn how to reparent yourself so that you can overcome the negative beliefs that were instilled in childhood.